Hey guys, so today I'm gonna be looking at creepy experiences while working at night. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. Grab your blankets, grab everything you can to make you feel safe. A friend used to work at night as a night custodian for an elementary school, which the building itself was rather old, built in the 40s maybe. He was the third shift guy, so he took over from the second shift guy at like 9 p.m. He was basically there to mop the floors and make sure no one broke in. If he got all of his stuff done, he was pretty much free to do whatever he wanted. Often, after he finished doing his work, he'd go hang out in an office because there was a small TV to watch. He said things started off innocently enough. Lights turning on in classrooms where he knew they had been off previously, cabinets and doors opening and closing on their own. He didn't pay much attention to it at first. He was sort of on the fence as to whether he believed in paranormal activities, so he just shrugged it off as coincidences. At first, he would go and check the noises out. Sometimes he'd creep around and try to catch someone in the act, in case there was a way in which he didn't know about. About a month or so, he gave up looking and just learned to ignore it. He'd ask his boss about it and just get blown off. Over the coming months, things progressively got worse. Doors no longer closed on their own, they slammed shut. He heard noises like children playing, sometimes screaming. He'd find trash cans turned upside down. He'd have things thrown at him, but he would be clearly alone with nowhere for someone to hide and throw things at him. What? No way, there must be like a kid messing with him or something. Wait, jokes, but why would a kid be there at like 10 p.m., right? He'd contemplated quitting, but he was making good money for being nearly fresh out of high school, and he needed the money for family stuff, so he stuck with it. He'd come in, rush through his duties for the night as quickly as he could, then go and sit in the office where he'd turn the TV to where he could sit facing the door, and that's where he'd sit until the morning crew came in at 6 a.m. He didn't want to admit that he was scared of being in that school by himself at night, so he tried to tough it out and made a lot of excuses to try and explain what was going on. The last straw for him was the night he was sitting in the office watching TV and felt someone grab the chair from behind and flip him over backwards. There was clearly no one in the room and no way for anyone to get into the room without him seeing them. He picked up the office phone and called his boss at home in the middle of the night, said he'd quit and he'd come back in the morning to turn his keys in. He was definitely a believer in the paranormal after that experience. That's so creepy, like what in the world? It was so obvious too, like the ghost didn't even try to hide it. Why are you haunting this dude? I worked at a movie store in college. I was closing one night and just kind of doing a final walkthrough. I kept hearing what sounded like movie cases shuffling. I looked around thinking maybe someone had came in last minute, although I didn't hear the bell ring for when someone enters the store. Didn't see anyone. Then I hear what sounds like a movie fall off a shelf in the kids section. I go over and there's a movie laying on the ground, and it was Casper. Wow. Are they trying to tell you something? Maybe they're all trying to tell people that they exist. Worked at a movie theater running the booth upstairs. The projectors are upstairs, obviously in a long corridor. At night, after the last showing in each theater, you shut off the lights to that theater and the small one over the projector itself. Then you cover the platters to protect from dust. Oh my gosh. I feel like that's so scary. Like imagine after playing a horror movie at like 10 p.m, you're the last one to be in that theater. It's not so bad the first through because at least the lights of nearby projectors are still on for the theaters that are still running. But as you shut each one off one by one, the corridor gets darker and darker and that little viewing window into each individual theater is pitch black. That dull, steady roaring noise you've toned out all night is gone and is now replaced by absolute silence, and there's hardly any light left anymore. Just the lights at the end of each corridor where you sit in between each start time. It's spooky enough is what I'm saying. But one particular night, I'm throwing the covers over one of the platters and I casually glance up into the viewing theater window across the way, and there's a face. It's a little boy's face, and it's sheet white. I know what I saw. I'm sure there's an explanation for it, and there's nothing supernatural about it, but there was a face there, and it scared the poop out of me. It made an already unsettling environment that much more terrifying the rest of the time I worked there. Maybe someone was screwing with them, like the co-worker just put a picture of a boy's face there. Also, for the record, inside the actual theatre, these windows are a solid 8 to 10 feet above the seat backs in the highest row. So if someone was playing a prank, they need a ladder, and even then, they'd have nowhere to set it. Oh, jokes, it wasn't? Why did you have to say that? You know, because I'd like to rather believe that it was a prank, okay? I was working at a gas station at like 3 a.m. one night. A car pulled into the pump. Guy got out and started pumping, and then the car and dude just vanished. I was looking right at it, and it just popped out of existence. I told my boss the next day, and she turned white as sheet. She'd seen the same thing, same exact description, same car, same pump, same guy. Wow, he's just stealing gas now. He's a ghost, and he's getting things for free. While working at a psych ward, every morning at about 2 a.m., there would be the sound of someone running down the main service hallway, followed by the same door at the end slamming. One time, I kept a close eye on the area, but when I was distracted for a few seconds, the footsteps began. But when I got to the area, there was nothing. According to one of the managers, that had happened for several years, always at the same time every morning, and most believed it was a ghost of one of the deceased clients. Sorry. I'm just getting goosebumps. Another time, all the battery-powered wall clocks in the unit spun around a few times simultaneously. That was freaky, and everyone in the area screamed. Oh, that's so scary. I feel like there's something. Okay, you know what? I feel like I'm just overthinking. I worked the night shift in a hotel. It's a pretty old building, so lots of weird stuff happens. What stands out in particular is that there is a very creepy statue, which one night was gone. I asked the morning receptionist why they had removed it. She seemed confused. We checked and it was there again. I swear it was gone during the night. Oh my gosh, it walks! It do walk. It walks. It's alive! That thing is alive. A patient in one of our hospital rooms kept talking about spirits and demons. She was discharged a week later. The next guy who was admitted to that bed told me he sees spirits, and a big black lab was lying next to the bed. My black lab died a couple years ago. Then he said he's very in touch with the spirit world and laughed. I see dead people. Well, that's just casual. He just tells people that. But that's kind of wholesome. That what if it was their black lab that was just watching over them, you know, following them everywhere? Oh, my heart. I worked night shift at a hotel. I also had a day job, and the manager was cool and said I could sleep as long as I woke up if someone needed something. One night, I woke up and saw a guy, well, more of a silhouette of a guy, staring at me through the windows of the Dutch door to the courtyard. He was really tall and had a black duster trench coat and hat. Alright, that's already creepy. I jumped up from the couch, put down the remote I had fallen asleep with in my hand, and rushed to the door to see what he needed. He was gone, and no sign of him anywhere in the courtyard, and there were only 2 long straight paths. He couldn't even have ran that fast. I forget about it and continue my night. Fast forward about 3 weeks, and my coworker is telling me about an evil spirit that lives in one of the rooms. All the employees knew there were at least 4 haunted rooms there, as well as the elevator. No, seriously. He started describing a tall, shadowy guy. I cut him off and say, like 6 or 7 feet, black coat and hat. He turns white and stares at me. You've seen it too? I tell him what happened, and that innocent incident that night all of a sudden got super creepy. Oh my gosh. Creepy. Why did he run though? Why did they do this? Why did they just show people that they're there and then all of a sudden become invisible, right? When a patient buzzed and asked me to ask the person behind the curtain to go away. For your information, it was dark and everyone was in their beds. One night, I kept hearing what sounded like a little girl crying, but the store was completely empty. Whenever I'd go to the area where I thought it was coming from, I'd hear it from somewhere else. I hope somebody was messing with me, but I'm not sure. I hope so too. What? So they hear it from one corner, and then they go to the corner, and then the sound goes to the opposite corner? Nah. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, Thanks for watching, hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!